I recognize the gentleman from North Dakota, Mr. Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses. I want to hone in a little bit on some statements that were made earlier and see if we can't find some common ground, because I appreciate what Mr. McNerney said earlier about we'll never solve this if one side imposes its will on the other. I agree. I think Ms. Castor makes a relevant point, admonishing us to see how the FIMSI process works. We do have some pretty successful pilots, and I think they could be even more successful if the interagency collaboration was more, I guess, more cooperated by more agencies on federal lands, where we've seen some permitting activity actually create efficiencies by actually co-locating some agencies, even in field offices. What I'm wondering about on the interagency issue here is, can we find ways or even substantiate that interagency collaboration and cooperation can accomplish two goals? One, to streamline the permitting process so that those of us who want to see the process shortened can be satisfied, as well as find synergies, not just efficiencies, but synergies among the agencies where there's even greater environmental oversight and scrutiny in that shorter time frame, so that there doesn't have to be a loser, but rather two winning sides. Is that too much to hope for, or can that be substantiated? And I'd ask either or both of you for your experiences.
No, I would say that what you say makes a lot of sense, and indeed is a viable and very positive goal.
Do we have any experiences where that could be demonstrated, or?
The commission participated kind of ex officio, because it wasn't any of our projects, in the interagency task force that you talked about, which I think primarily related to getting transmission lines on federal lands permitted. And our impression, watching it a little bit from afar, was that the agencies did a very good job of working together and doing things concurrently and trying to solve everybody's problems at once. And in some projects that come before the commission, that happens and things go very well. Other times it doesn't. I guess the question of getting it to be consistent and to be the rule rather than exception is perhaps the difficult thing.
And perhaps that's more a matter of the will than it is policy. However, Mr. Turpin, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but is there a way to incent that within the agencies? In other words, I think the natural tendency is to slow walk things. If you're just the bureaucracy doing your things sequentially, right? And you have 90 days, generally it takes 90 days. If you hadn't noticed, Congress usually extends their deadlines so that we can take longer. So what I'm wondering is there a way to properly incent that behavior that we seek in an actual streamlining process without violating the integrity of oversight and scrutiny?
I think it comes back to sort of setting the priorities for the agencies. I mean, they're given multiple mandates. Again, we're a single focus agency, so it's easy for us to stay on the track. Other folks who have very widely different missions to carry out have to do that balancing act, and so having that priority set for them would go a long way.
I do wonder sometimes if we couldn't harmonize some of that, again, while maintaining the integrity, but that's beyond, obviously, your agency's responsibility and scope. Since I have time, with regard to the presidential permits and crossing border on the oil side, which is the difference maker, right, from natural gas on international pipelines, this national interest determination, which is what the president ultimately has to make where a presidential permit is determined. If I understood, I think your answer to a previous question, you, while consulting the National Security and Homeland Security and other agencies, State Department, you are in essence not neglecting the national interest, especially on the security side, in your process with gas pipelines. Would that be accurate? And I don't know whether the determination of the standard for the permit is the same, but it seems that the considerations are the same. Is that fair?
I mean, with the natural gas process, under NGA Section 3, we do the environmental review, we look at the facilities installation, and under the executive orders for the presidential process, we reach out to state and defense to get their concurrence on impacts to areas that they oversee.
Thank you for your work and for your testimony. I yield back.